So first of all, thank you very much for your talk. Is he, where is he?
Me?
Gone already? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, just...
You said one thing, I'm not sure if you said it on purpose or by accident, but you should print it out or, I don't know, grave it in stone, whatever. You said if you do data and do graphs for yourself, do it as complicated as you can understand it, and if you want to present it, do it as easy as you can.
Yeah.
Wonderful sentence, really a wonderful sentence, because this is the real reason because I'm here. Yeah. So I think it's a wonderful night to talk about infographics. I'm happy to be here. I'm Karsko. I'm an art and creative director, as Wolfgang said, and I'm really a big fan of infographics. And since the world of infographics is so big, I have split my talk in 3 parts. So the first part, you probably were there or missed it, was about examples. The second will be an overview now, and the third one will be how to make infographics good. And of course, the first one you can still see. It was about the good, the bad, and the ugly. There is an online version of folios you can click through or download if you want to on Speaker Deck and SlideShare, as well as this talk tonight will be there in about, let's say, 10 days. And you will find it on YouTube as well, on the DATAVIZ channel, the talk from last time, just to get you into it, or if you're interested in it. So, first things were examples, and now we come to an overview on, let's say, the most used graphs and do's and don'ts and a little bit of tricks and tricks. Yeah. So since the last one I titled The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, I'm not much of a Western fan, still it's a good film. The title of this one will be The Magnificent Seven. Not just because it's already in remake, and I'm sure it's going to be a nice action film, but it just fits perfectly because there are 7 kind of chart graphs that are in the use and nearly overused. So the Magnificent Seven, number 1, is of course bar charts. We all know bar charts. You know them vertical as column charts, or vertical stacked to 100%, horizontal, the whole thing again. And here's the thing, if you use bar charts, use horizontal labels. Yeah, don't do that. Nobody wants to turn their head. And we have space enough. Don't do it. Just don't do it. It's a fail. So space your bars appropriately, because nobody wants to be this thin suckers there. Another fail. Just keep it in mind. Always start your y-axis at 0. This is very important because charts do look very strange and people don't understand them if you don't. So this is another fail. And I prefer to use consistent colors because it's just nicer to look at. Yeah? I mean, you can use gradients, still, of course, as long as you can see the difference, because this 70, I don't know what was that Excel stuff, nobody needs it anymore. It's another fail, of course. So, order your data appropriately, because everybody says A to Z, like apple, bananas, and lemons. Nobody starts with bananas. Yeah, don't do that. Just, I mean, I'm really down basic because still I often fall over those examples made terribly wrong, right? So, the Magnificent Seven, number 2, pie charts. Pie charts. I'm more a fan of Venn diagrams to be correct, but pie charts are good as well. And you all know them, standard pie charts. Now what you see is often like a donut pie chart, just to have a label from your signature in it, which is not so good to see, to compare, to be true. And of course, then you have those exploded pie charts, even not really good. And pie charts row style, looking tremendously exciting, but are not good to compare things. So, first thing for pie charts, don't use more than 5 categories. It just will, well, freaks you out. And even those colors from the Microsoft world freak you out as well. So don't do that, it's a fail. Don't use pie charts to compare to each other, because nobody gets it, really. Nobody gets it. The better practice is use bar charts for that. It's really simple. And of course, the data of your pie should always be 100%. But you often see things like that. You don't even get 100%. Where's the missing slice? Nobody knows. It's just gone. So this is another fail you can avoid easily. And of course, order the slices neatly, like you can do it top down, the biggest two on the top, or you can do it clockwise, as everybody knows. But don't do stuff like that, which already, well, wraps your mind up. So this is another fail you can you can avoid. And of course, do not use 3D, because it just messes up your perception. You don't get it. This is the same chart as 3D, and you see the lower slide is much bigger. It seems to be much bigger. It is, of course, not. So this is another fail you can easily avoid. Magnificent 7, number, who did count? 3. Fine. So line charts, of course, line charts, we know them since ever. And again, I do have to repeat myself sometimes. Please have a 0 line. Start your x-axis at 0. Don't start at 5 or whatever my Oma died date. Yeah? So this is another fail you can avoid. Of course, don't use more than 4 lines. 4 lines are enough. This is abstracting totally. Yeah. So in this case, the better practice would just be splitting it in 2. Why not? We have time and space all enough. And of course, you should prefer solid lines. Fancy stuff like this doesn't work normally. There's just one exception. If you, well, use a fax machine or still print it in black and white, then it's maybe interesting to use dotted lines, for example. So, and of course, it's easier for the reader if you label the lines directly and not do this labeling underneath. Yeah, it just keeps you searching. So, another thing to avoid easy stuff. Easy stuff to say, but to do is another thing. So, use an obvious height. Like, there you can see, okay, you got those graphs going along, and if you just measure it wrong, you have a graph like this, and you can't see what's going on there exactly. So this is another fail. Magnificent 7, number 4, area charts. Area charts, very nice. You have them normal, you have them stacked to 100%, and of course, make it easy to read. Like in this example, you have the easy file in the foreground, the one with the most peaks in the background, and have it stacked in color. This is nicely to see what's going on. Instead of this one, just turned around, already harder to read. Yeah, so simple as that, it's a fail. Of course, as I said, start your y-axis at 0, here again, and of course, avoid more than 4 categories as well, because then you have just a sea of beer red, something like this. Another fail. Transparent colors can help, can make it easier, since all the layout programs have them already now. Don't overuse it. So you see, there you see what's happening with the chart in the back. Could be helpful, could be. It's not useful for too discrete data. If you have fine data, don't use such a chart. It's a fail. Magnificent 7, number 5. Scatter plots. Some do it by accident, some do it on purpose. This is how they look. I don't like them at all, but they've been used often and very much. So another point, as I said before, I'm sure you can say it already together, start the y-axis at 0. Do it always, really. It's much more better to read. So this would be a fail if you start by 5, for example. And of course you can include more variables, like having bigger plots for sizes, which leads us later on to other charts. But in that case, that would be a fail. So trending lines in scatter plots can be useful, like this. And of course, if it gets too much, don't use more than 3 comparing, it just gets you abstracted. Magnificent 7, number 6, bubble charts. Bubble charts, I already like bubble charts because I like the word bubbles. I don't know why. So, bubble charts, bubbly, bubbly here, wonderful. We know them as bubble map charts, bubble charts, and of course, here is really important to take care of the correct proportions. Like the double measuring should be really a double measuring, and not just something like I'm zooming it up like who wants it, yeah? So please take care of correct proportions in bubble charts, and don't use weird shapes. It's nice to look at first, but in the second place, it's really hard to compare them, yeah? I have the same numbers here, but you see on the right chart, you can easily compare that. The left chart is quite hard to compare, right? Yeah? So this would be a fail as well. And we got the Magnificent 7, number 7, heat maps. Heat maps come in all sizes. We know them as a normal heat map, heated tree maps. We got heated grids, heated periodic tables, and in that case, I would say just use simple outlines and a little bit of colors, and don't write this stuff everywhere. Everybody knows where it lives, at least, you know. So this would be a fail. And choose colors appropriately. Go down, go slow. Don't do that Excel stuff. Yeah, it's just not. This is like in the 70s when I was at school. Every normal school book atlas looked like that. Yeah, very funky. But the 70s were funky. So cool it down a bit. And of course, you have to choose appropriate data rates, ranges like take steps from 1 to 10 or from 1 to 5, but always take the same steps and don't quirk it up. Yeah? So, well, just believe me, the left one is quirked up, the right one is good. Yeah, you don't have to count that. And of course, please don't overuse pattern, because patterns are already overused everywhere. A few maybe, a little bit of color and a little bit of non-color does the same thing normally. Yeah? So you get it through. Well, these were the Magnificent 7, and I want you to go out and fight like them, and be brave and be bold. And I have just some short do's and don'ts. Like the do's are, do use as few colors as possible and sensible. Just, we don't have to make it too bright. Yeah. Audio data in logical hierarchy. Visualize it so that you can easily compare it, and use icons, for example, instead of labeling. And we do, of course, have don'ts, like do not use those 70 colors, do not use 3D charts, do not use them more than 6 colors, and distracting fonts like italic or underlined stuff, don't use them as well. As you see, there's a lot of things you shouldn't do, and of course, I couldn't come here with bare hands. So, to remind you and to keep the spirit of the Magnificent 7 up, if you go through this world and see all these fails and all these bad layouts and bad graphs or whatever, bad work of your colleagues, all these fails around the world, I would like to have you just give it around, take a few stickers for failing. Just I don't know, maybe your boyfriend, if it doesn't get you breakfast, he gets a sticker on his face. I got enough for you. Just spread them, and that was it. Thank you very much.